I just got back from a Macy's interview, and I haven't found anything really helpful about Macy's interviews, so I figured I'd give you some info about how that interview went. I applied for the position of a beauty sales advisor, and these were the questions that I can remember that were asked. They really want to know if you can work weekends because this is when most of their people come in to buy things because a lot of the sales happen during the weekend, so they just really want to make sure that you're flexible with your schedule. So hopefully you can work weekends. Just tell them that you can, even if you can't, and then figure it out because that's very important. Describe a time in which you sold something and how you interacted with the customer. I volunteered at a gun raffle and I had to sell raffle tickets. So I used that experience. If you don't have any experience, just try to sell something to the interviewer, maybe like how you would sell something and just how you would go about it, basically. The interviewer that I had was a boy. He was in charge of the cosmetics department. He was the manager for that. And I feel like it was definitely much easier because he was a male. But if you get a female, just try to be as outgoing and nice as possible, and it should work in your favor, I would say. I don't know if I got the job yet because I just got back from the interview maybe an hour ago, but they told me that they would contact me shortly and let me know. They said the first thing that they said was, "Tell me about yourself." So with this, you don't want to make it too personal. Tell them about yourself in relation to the job. Don't tell them like anything about high school, or I wouldn't recommend talking about your family. I would recommend just sticking to the qualities that they're looking for and the position that you're applying for. So I was going for cosmetics again, so I just told them I was very passionate about cosmetics and makeup, which is true. So that's what I did, and I also told him that I was very hardworking and responsible and organized because that's really important. You have to organize the cosmetic booth. Are you okay with a fast-paced environment where tasks are constantly changing, and how would you handle this? So this question kind of caught me off guard because I looked up prior to the interview what questions were commonly asked, and this one was nowhere, but just make sure you make it apparent that you can handle a changing environment and you know how to deal with that and you're willing to accept challenges. Don't let them see that you would be flustered, basically. Just I would relate it to something that you did in school where there was a challenging situation and you powered through it and things were constantly changing for you. I used my experience tutoring, saying that I had different students coming to me all the time that I didn't personally know, so I had to learn their specific qualities and how to teach them. How do you feel about applying makeup on hands and faces? So for this, if you're applying for a cosmetology position, I would figure that you would be okay with this, so just say that you're fine with it and you would be willing to do it if it would help make a sale happen. I related it to my senior year of high school. I helped do the makeup for the spring musical, so I related it to that because you have to touch faces to do makeup. Describe a time in which you had to develop a new skill in someone and how you did this. This was the hardest question of the entire interview. Just be quick to think on your feet because most of the interview questions that you see when you search on the internet are related to cosmetology, but this is not at all. So for this, I used tutoring once again because that definitely brings out a skill in someone that they didn't have before or they wouldn't be getting help. But you could use tutoring, you could use coaching, you could use many things. Just I would think about that question. If you're watching this video, just think about that question. Do you have any questions for me? This was at the end of the interview, but make sure that you go in with a couple of questions because if you don't ask any questions, you're going to look like you don't care about the position or that you just want to get out of there as quickly as possible, and it's a conversation. You want to make it look like you're interested in Macy's as a company, not just in getting a job, because they're not going to want an employee who only cares about themselves. So just beforehand, think of some questions that you can ask them. For example, I asked, what is your favorite part about working at Macy's? And he answered with, things are always changing and it's fast paced and you can't expect or anticipate what's going to happen next. He had applied for a seasonal position and he had advanced to being a really high up manager if he's going to be interviewing people. But that happened within 1 year. So basically anything can happen at Macy's. Then I also asked him where he sees Macy's, like how he sees Macy's evolving as a company within the next 5 years. I would say that this is a really good question to ask because it shows that you care about Macy's as a company. So he said that they're always adapting to new business strategies and always changing. Basically, Macy's is a continuously changing place, but make sure that you listen to their answer and respond to their answer. It's a continuous conversation. You have to be part of it. You can't just wait for people to ask you questions. Be an active participant. How do you feel about selling a Macy's card? How would you do this? And how frequently would you try to sell one? So, a Macy's card, if you don't know, is just a credit card that they offer to customers, and you get all sorts of perks if you open it. So basically, I just said I would be comfortable selling a Macy's card. You have to say, yes, I am willing to sell a Macy's card, or they're not going to want to hire you because that's half the job, from what I've heard, is selling Macy's cards. So I said I would be willing to sell it and that I would just mention to the customers all the benefits, such as an instant rebate when opening the credit card, happy birthday offers, surprise savings at the cash register, coupons throughout the year, and primary customer service, among other things. So just mention that. Make it seem like you really, really know what's going on with the Macy's credit card stuff, because that will definitely be asked. He actually asked me if I had a Macy's card. I probably should have lied and told him I did, but I told him the truth and just said that my boyfriend's mother had one and knew about them, so I used her knowledge of it. But I would probably lie and say I had one so I would look like a more loyal customer. Well, I don't know. It's not really. I would stick to honesty, just kidding. Because they'll probably respect you more if you are honest. And for how frequently would you try to sell one, I told him that I would offer a card to every customer. And then I told him I probably wouldn't offer it to the same customer more than once. And he asked me why, and I said, I don't want to be too pushy and make the customer think I only care about making sales. I want to actually form a relationship with the customer so that they will want to come back to me in the future. And he seemed to really like that response. So maybe go that route when you're doing your interview. How would you get a new customer to come back to you? So for this one, I just said be nice and friendly and ask them about their day. Ask them how they're doing. Try to get to know them on a personal level. Don't make it all professional and just trying to sell to them, because people don't respond to that. They don't want to just feel like all you care about is selling and getting their money. They want to feel like you actually care about them as a person. And then I also said I would be honest about the products that I'm selling them, because there are good and bad products in every single brand. It's not all good. There's no way it can all be good. So I said I would just be honest and tell them what, in my honest opinion, is worth buying, even if it doesn't meet sale expectations, because I would want to form an honest relationship with customers, and I would want them to come back to me specifically, because there's an even greater chance of them buying from me in the future then, and it's even better than selling them bad products. There weren't very many questions, actually. There were only about, I would say 14 at the most. He asked me if I was in school, just about availability stuff, and this semester, fall 2015, I am not in school. So I told him that I am not a student currently, but I'm going to be a student, and that I still want to stay at Macy's even when I'm a student. I said just maybe less hours, just be honest about everything and put it out there on the table. If you know that you're going to be more available for a couple of months and then you're going to have something on your plate, don't lie about it, because they don't want an employee like that. They ask about prior work experience and references. If you provide something about that on your application, so just be ready to talk about that. And yeah, that's pretty straightforward. If you don't have any work experience, it's not required and they won't judge you for that. And make sure your references are okay with you using them as a reference. That's important. My interviewer tried to make me feel comfortable. Like, he was very good about that. He treated me like he would treat a friend. So, I mean, I guess that's based on your interviewer, but I don't think you're going to get someone who's rude, because they wouldn't be given the job position to be hiring people and looking at their qualifications and stuff. They're not nice. And the number one thing I would say for this job in the cosmetics booth or just beauty advising in general at Macy's is have a flexible schedule. It's very, very important to have a flexible schedule, because this will make you stand out among other applicants if you can work whenever they need you. And it would make it more likely that you would get hired. So those were the questions that were asked of me and how I sort of responded. Just have some instances in mind. Like, I talked about dog and house sitting, I talked about tutoring, and I also talked about volunteering at a gun raffle. So yeah, just have experiences in mind. You don't want to go in there and not know what to say. So I would definitely recommend, like, the day before your interview, look up common questions, even though they weren't really asked of me, but look up common questions and just write them out. Write out your answers. It really does help. It keeps you from being nervous and flustered the day of the interview. And just don't be too hard on yourself or you won't do well. Just calm down. This is how I went to the interview. I didn't change or anything. This is how I did my makeup. You can't really see the eyeshadow that well, but I might do a tutorial on this look later. I don't know. I tried Jaclyn Hill's highlight, and I really, really like it. The Champagne Pop Becca highlight. It's amazing. And it was raining outside, so my hair kind of fell, but I just curled it and pinned it up. Really simple. You want your hair to be out of your face, so at least do half up hair, because you don't want to be messing with your hair during the interview. You don't want to be fidgeting. That's very important. Don't be like picking at your face or playing with your hair, scratching your neck or anything, playing with your necklace. If you're going to wear jewelry, do not mess with your jewelry. Just keep your hands, talk with your hands, that can work, but don't be fidgety. And then also make eye contact. That is very, very important. Just be interested in the conversation, like you would. This is the best conversation you have had in a long time. I'll show you my outfit. So I went in like this. I got my pants from Target. They were like $30. I got the shirt from Target as well. And I'm wearing these shoes from Banana Republic. They're cute and gray and they go with the outfit. And then I'm just wearing this necklace from, I don't know where this is from. I've had this for forever. And I am wearing this James Avery ring. This is what I came up with. And I was definitely nicer. There were a couple of other interviewees there, and I was definitely the nicest dressed. So I don't know if that worked in my favor or what, but I kind of felt uncomfortable actually, because they were pretty casual, I have to say. And I was very formal. Maybe that could be a bonus. Just dress nicely, it's important. And also, my last tip for interviews would probably be, if you're going to wear perfume, do not wear too much, because you're going to be in a small, compact room with one other person, and you don't want your scent to be overwhelming, because you want them to focus on what you're saying. You don't want them to be distracted by fidgeting, your clothing, your makeup. Just keep your makeup really neutral. And even what I did, I would say I'm wearing too much makeup if I weren't applying for a cosmetic spot. I would just tone it down, just make sure that you look fresh and clean and just awake. Yeah, the perfume. Be careful with that. Like, Viva La Juicy is very, very powerful, and you might not want to wear that if you do just only one spritz like on your wrist and that's it. I would be weary of it. But yeah, those are all my tips for Macy's interviews, what they asked, what I wore, my hair, and my makeup. I would say if you're going to do nail polish, I didn't because I didn't have time. I would just do like a clear coat or just a simple French manicure or maybe a nude nail, and that would be good. You don't want to be distracting in any way. You want them to focus on you. So yeah. And just be confident in yourself, because if you have a passion for makeup, you'll be great. So yeah, that's everything I have to say. Bye.